to lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, sunshine. Happy Monday to you all. I hope that your week is off to a great start or that you had a fantastic weekend. I know I did. I'm actually thinking of going to a jazz show tonight, and I'm really hoping that everything aligns. I'm just trying to figure out where. Like, they're happening in different areas. There's 4 different arrondissements that I'm thinking of. I think I'm going to be sticking to the first just because it's closest, but we'll see how all of that pans out. We've got Gala in the house. Good morning. Gala's got a new photo today too. We're all mad here. Ain't that the truth? Nice to see you. Ramster had a pretty cool weekend, back in bed with fever. So tomorrow, quick visit to the doctor. Here to press the like button and probably either asleep or listening. I'm so sorry to hear that, Ramster. Get well soon. I remember you telling us that you were feeling under the weather last week. So it sucks to hear that it's still persisting, but you're making the right call going to the doctor because you really never know with these sorts of things, right? Get well soon. Good morning, Paprika. Nice to see you. K-Car, Maxie, Ronnie, Miss Queen. Good morning to you all. Good morning, Ali. No, I'm on time. I swear I'm on time. I was 1 minute late, Miss Queen. Good morning, Ali. Good morning, Milan, Ronnie. Nice to see you, Kate. And it is the absolute best. You know, they're going to be doing a tribute to B.B. King. So they're going to be playing his songs in September. I have that noted in my calendar. I cannot miss that. B.B. King, well, he's more blues, but he's one of my favorite artists. And Nina Simone, they're going to be doing a Nina Simone one soon. Those are the ones I am most looking forward to. I don't know between the two which one more. I think maybe more Nina, but I'm obsessed. I'm so excited. Good morning, Kate. Nice to see you. And thank you. You know, I never wear these. I got these as a gift when I was gift shopping with my friend in Montmartre when she came to visit me back in 21. And I only ever really wear them on my head, and they're just so fun. I feel like they bring out a lot of the light in the camera as well. So I'm going to start wearing them a little bit more often. Hey, Nancy. Hey, Crazy Dalmatian Lady, Nikki, Jenny, Her Story, Kristen, Crystal. So nice to have y'all. And good morning to everybody watching from the bushes as well. Y'all know how Mondays are kind of funny when it comes to the morning report because over the weekend, things are typically rather quiet, right? So there's nothing major to announce, but I'm really looking forward to discussing the topics that we have nonetheless. So we're going to be talking about one of Diddy's ex-girlfriends, otherwise known as victim number 3 in his major federal indictment, and how she's begging a judge to let him out on bail. We're also going to be talking about Love is Blind stars Cameron and Lauren announcing the sex of their babies. Spoiler alert, they are going to be having a baby boy. Sydney Sweeney, ever since her blue jeans ad, she has been the topic of a lot of very contentious conversations, and we just figured out how she votes. It looks like she might be undercover MAGA. We've also got to talk about 90 Day Fiance stars Leida and Eric. So they are in a lot of trouble, these two. They had a massive domestic violence situation that led to arrests on both ends. Leida was also arrested for cruelty against an animal, a dog in particular. And then their infant daughter passed away. And there's just so much mystery surrounding the passing of her daughter. We've got a lot of information about that as well. And we've also got to talk about the teen mom, young and pregnant star who's announced her second pregnancy. You know, I actually almost skipped over this picture because it's pretty much the same announcement picture that Cameron and Lauren used. So I thought it was the same thing, but I digress. Anyway, if you guys find yourselves enjoying today's episode of The Morning Report, please don't hesitate to go ahead and leave a thumbs up so YouTube knows you enjoy my content. So of course, we got to get the ugly story out of the way, right? Guards, release them. We got to talk about Demon Diddy. Sean Diddy Combs has a very unlikely advocate in his circle named Gina Huynh, and she is one of his ex-girlfriends, otherwise identified as victim number 3 in his federal indictment. I have a feeling that his goons got to her because here she is all of a sudden begging, quite literally begging the judge to let this man out, grant him the bail. She says that she has known Diddy for years and primarily sees him as a father, a family man, and a businessman, and not a criminal. She acknowledges that their relationship did have its ups and downs, but she claims that overall Diddy was willing to admit to his mistakes and strive for personal growth. And she says that she's seen a shift in his behavior over time, saying that by the end of the relationship, he embodied an energy of love, patience, and gentleness, which, please give me a freaking break. Nobody believes that. She also claims that Diddy has not been violent for many years, which we all know is absolutely not true, right? So just very disturbing all around. I do think that his goons got to her, because this is something that came up a lot in Diddy's federal trial, how he has a network of people that he uses to intimidate others. So we saw him do that to intimidate members of Dirty Money who were called upon to serve as witnesses or to answer certain questions that prosecutors or investigators wanted to ask. Diddy himself was caught calling like 100 times to a certain victim and whatnot, trying to gaslight the victim about what exactly it is that happened between the two of them. And it just makes me so freaking sad for her that things have come to this, right? And by the way, is victim number 3 the one that kind of like vanished and would refuse to testify? Because if that's the same one, then that lady, I think that she was tampered with, and that prosecutor should look a little bit more closely into this overall situation. What do you guys think, though? Good morning, Shy. Nice to see you. Good morning, Tadisha. Nice to see you, boo. Talk about it. Says I can care less about Kiaya after she teamed up with them non-Black women against pregnant Ashley when Roxanne and Brianna started that stuff. Listen, we're going to get into all that and more. Stay tuned. Good morning, Michelle. Nice to see you. And thank you, Tidisha. I'm telling you, it's the scarf. Something about it attracts light in a really, really good way that brings everything else out, because the lip color never actually changed. She was paid, says Be Wise. Nikki says, so that's the baby girl's mother. They look similar. Shayna says his goons definitely got to her. Venetia says, good morning. My family and I are driving to Miami to see my mom, sister, nephew, and nieces. You got to put that song. If you're to the city, Miami. Welcome to Miami. Yeah, you got to put that song on. Is that Baby Love's mother? I don't think it is. I could have sworn. Am I crazy? No, it's not Daphne. Who the heck is? Hang on. Diddy's daughter, Love mother. Is that her mother? Because I could have sworn her mother was somebody else. Her mother, I believe, is Dana. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to see. Yeah, her name is Dina Tran. So it's a different woman, but they do look a little bit similar, right? Ali says she's under the influence of Diddy. Yep. I think so too. They got to her. They absolutely got to her. And it is just so sad. You really, honestly, with people like Diddy, the power that they have, the influence that they have, it is so freaking difficult to get away from them. So again, that's why Cassie is just so heroic, right? As a person to put all of that, and for her to be such a public figure, to speak out about the disgusting, horrific things that she was forced to engage in, like that took an incredible level of bravery. So Tadisha says, Daphne is 50 Cent's ex. Yes. And 50 Cent was like dragging her like crazy throughout this trial. And it was just absolutely disgusting to witness. So Virginia's victim number 3, who disappeared during the trial. So there you go, you guys. I'm going to continue to keep an eye on this story. Again, Gina, she's flipped and she's saying that this man is not dangerous. He's a family man. She wants him out on bail immediately so he can go and be a father to his children. But he should have thought of about that when he had those children, right? By the way, look at this photo. Does it look like she got pinned to the floor and she looks less than thrilled and this guy's like on top of her like a total creep? Not the most flattering photo, but I digress. We got some new co-reporters joining us this morning. We've got Mary Duda Kahara. Good morning, ladies. Malen says, I believe Diddy was cleared because Gina didn't testify, which caused doubt about the prosecution's credibility, which is crazy because you would think that they would have been ready for this kind of thing happening, right? Because it was such a massively publicized trial and there's a lot of DV involved. And typically in DV cases, this does happen where victims become uncooperative. It doesn't mean that, the person that, they're supposed to testify against is innocent or anything like that. It just means that this is typical for the psychology of DV victims, and I hate that, things like this. And again, Toby Busby and his cash grab contributed to Demon Diddy only being found guilty on lesser charges. Anyway, listen, y'all. Let's get to some happier news, shall we? We've got two pregnancy announcements. Well, pregnancy-related stories, right? So we've got Lauren and Cameron from Love is Blind, the OG Love is Blind couple, announcing that they are expecting a baby boy. A couple of months ago, they shared the news that they were able to conceive after many years of infertility. And now we're all so lucky and happy to find out that they are pregnant with a boy. They posted the most dramatic like gender reveal thing ever. And that's something I love about them. They're a very dramatic, kind of like corny couple, but I mean that in a really positive way. I just find it so cute how they put together these like big productions for everything. It's like, you know, they get so much joy and excitement out of sharing news with us as much as they enjoy reading it or like getting it for themselves. And I just think it's so freaking cute. I really like this couple and I'm so freaking happy that they are still together. I think they go together so damn well. And honestly, I hope that this lasts forever. I don't think I'd be able to take a Lauren and Cameron breakup. 2025 has already been heavy enough. Please let us continue to have some good and happy news. Good morning, Amelia Bedelia. So nice to see you, boo. Happy Monday. Good morning, Cynthia Ochoa. Nice to see you. Mom Power says, money. I bet she was given a large sum of money and an NDA. So this is in reference to Gina, who went from being victim number 3 in the Diddy federal indictment to now campaigning for him to be released on bail. Be wise. Good morning, boo. Jaleesa, good morning. Oh, Jaleesa, is this a new photo from Rome? Hubba, girl. Let's take a look. I love this. This is so cute. This is your color. You look so freaking good. I love the curly hair. Are you still in Rome? How are you doing, boo? Wow, nice to see you. Listen, I love how you guys, even when you're traveling, you still come to the morning report. And it's just the sweetest thing ever. You still fit us into your schedules. Thanks, you guys. It's just so cute. I love it. Love it. Love it. Mary Judah says, congrats to Lauren and Cameron. Indeed. Good morning, Clara. Nice to see you. Shout out to you over there in NYC. I was just talking this weekend about how much I love New York City. Cynthia, I feel like it's like the Paris of like US. Cynthia says, so happy for them. They're probably going to name that cute baby after her dad. And you know what? I really, truly believe that her dad sent that baby to them because they were dealing with infertility for years, you guys. And then her father, rest his soul, unfortunately, passes away and boom, pregnant. I'm sorry, but after years of infertility and then that happens to me, I see that like as a, you know, a spiritual thing. I feel like this baby's going to be her father reincarnated. So it's all so beautiful. And the fact that it's a boy too, listen, we're not going to cry on today's episode. Wow. I'm happy you made it safely back home, Jaleesa. Wow. Again, I'm so jelly you got to go to Rome. So freaking cool. And of course, it's a beautiful photo. Thank you so much, Mom Power. So nice to have you here. Ali says, okay, Jaleesa, girl, that picture looks fab, doesn't it? Hang on, let's put it up one more time. Jaleesa, you look so good. East Awesome says, good morning. I just got back from Toronto, Mississauga for a wedding. It was an amazing trip. They were having Caravana in Toronto this weekend. Did you get to experience some of the Caravana? Because if so, what did you think? Like Toronto's actually pretty known for that. And I remember when the Real Housewives of Atlanta got to go there for that and they had the greatest time. Really, really good. Toronto's great, honestly. It's kind of like underrated. I don't know Mississauga like that, but Toronto's underrated. Well, actually, no, it's not. People mainly think of Toronto when they think of Canada, right? Anyway, you guys, listen. And by the way, good morning, East Awesome. We do have another pregnancy story to get to. So once again, congratulations to Lauren and Cameron for having a baby boy or expecting a baby boy. And now let's talk about someone else. But this time it's from the Teen Mom universe, Kiaya. She's back with Xavion, and they're expecting a second child together. Let me take a sip of water so I can get through this. So basically, these two were a couple. Xavion went to jail, and then Kiaya got together with Tiaja. And Tiaja was like, you know, her girlfriend, and like Tiaja helped raise Kiaya and Xavion's child, a son named Amour. And now that Xavion is back out of jail, they're back together. And not only are they back together, but they're expecting a child together. Mind you, these people are very, very young. She's only 24 years old. I think Xavion is probably around the same age. Xavion already has another baby mama as well. So I just do not understand why she would get herself in this situation. And with Young and Pregnant getting canceled, I could have sworn that I remembered hearing stories about how Kiaya was kind of struggling financially. So why would you, as somebody who's struggling financially with a child, go and make another child by a convict who is young with another baby mama that you're fighting with on the internet? Like, all of this is just so freaking low vibrational and sad, to be honest with you guys. I'm really, really extremely disappointed by this news. I hope the baby is happy and healthy, but I am not at all happy to hear this story. I really hate to see people making destructive choices. I don't think it's fair to bring children into these sorts of situations, but selfishly, I do wish that Young and Pregnant was still on the air so that we could watch all of this pan out, because Lord have mercy. Like, isn't there like another Young and Pregnant train wreck who's pregnant or had a baby recently? Isn't that Rachel Beaver or something like that? Like, there's a lot of that mess happening in that franchise, and then they take it off of the air, and so we're all kind of just left to like half follow these situations on social media. And I really hate that for us. I think that we could have, had these great storylines, right? So Kiaya, I'm disappointed. What does Kiaya do in life? Like, does she study? How does she make her money now that the show is off the air? Like, you hear about these people trying to study nursing or dental assisting or this, that, or the other, but where are they these days? I'm going to have to go and take a look at kind of her progress in life to see what it is that she's trying to do to improve her situation. And another thing about Kiaya is she seemed kind of like mentally unstable, if I could be quite honest with you guys. Like, she had an emotional regulation problem. I just remember her being somebody where she would be upset, and then all of a sudden she'll just start crying and screaming like a toddler, so her raising a child, doing that around him, and now expecting another one in such a contentious relationship, if we can even call it that. God help those four walls of her house, Lord. And I thought so too, but I guess she's just bisexual, or maybe she was just trying to pass the time with Tiaja while she was waiting for Xavion to get out of jail. The entire situation is just so confusing to me, and again, so disappointing. So for those of you who might not remember her face, let me go ahead and upload a photo that actually has her face, because in the pregnancy announcement you don't really see her face, right? So here is a picture. You see Kiaya on the left, she's the one who's pregnant, and that's her ex-girlfriend Tiaja on the right. So Kiaya is currently pregnant by Xavion, fresh out of jail. Oh, Lord have mercy. Mary Duda says, thank God it's not Kill. Well, there is that, at least, right? At least there's that. Kahara says she's hoping to get a Team on Next Generation check. Maybe that, oh yeah, because remember, they're trying to create that spinoff. They're low-key filming a spinoff and testing it out with just the children. So maybe it's that, but although I do think her kid might be young for next gen, but we'll see, because it's going to be centered around the kids themselves, their own narratives, and the parents will be background characters. Ali says very low rent behavior, and I agree. It's so sad to me. Like, why don't you think your kids deserve better? This is crazy. Nikki says, and isn't she still living with her in her mother's house? Exactly. Listen, I think her mom is so nice, and I really do like the way that her mom communicates with her and like would kind of mediate like her disputes with Tiaja without getting overly involved and stuff. But it seems like she's a little bit too permissive with her, because, at her age, and especially with her having a child, I think she should be doing a little bit better in life than where she's at right now. And I think, maybe the gentle parenting should turn into, like, let's get your ass in check parenting, because there's no way you should not be living at your mom's place with a child on your hip and you're expecting another one in your stomach. Absolutely freaking not. Get it together, Kiaya, please. Talk About It says, didn't he get caught cheating on her too recently? Yup. He keeps going back and forth with between his baby mother and Kiaya as well. And it's all just such a toxic mess. Mom Power says, I agree with you. Bringing an innocent child into this mess. Exactly. It's so freaking sad. Becky says, ooh, just getting here. I agree with you with Kiaya. She is so pretty, but so dumb. And doesn't she have the cutest nose too? I'm so obsessed with her little button nose. Tanisha says, I wish Young and Pregnant was never canceled. The drama would have been juicy to watch play out. I hope Kiaya doesn't come back crying to the internet if Xavion does her wrong again. Not if, but when, because Xavion is going to do her wrong. Shai says, Kayla from Young and Pregnant is also a train wreck. They should bring back the show. Oh my God. Did Kayla get pregnant by that new man? And then it turned out that new man was cheating on her. So she's got 3 kids by 3 men or something like that. Oh, Lord have mercy. I just do not get these girls. Like, they're not afraid of nothing. Like, how are y'all like not scared, like, of being like trapped? Like, tied to somebody for life, you know, the wrong person, especially for life. That's crazy. That's such a huge decision, right? Hey, little Miss Fluffy. Good morning, sunshine. Nice to see you. Becky says, I don't follow her, but have caught a few of her lives and her saying she wasn't working, but her mom had to get a second job to pay for everything. And she's proud of that. Your mom's working a second job and you're not working. You're just a dependent and you've got a child in her house. Woo! You know, things like this just make me so happy to be child free. Listen, this, I'm sorry, you know, like some of the stuff you hear about, you know, these teen mom grandparents, the stuff that they have to deal with, like Barbara, with not just Janelle, but all three of her children, right? And then like Ryan's parents, you know, like these are not things that child-free people have to deal with. Like they can sip their little Mai Tais and mind their own business. How old is her son now? Good question. I think Amul would have to be about 4 or 5 years old or something like that. Let me see. Yeah, I think he would have to be about 4-ish years old, but I don't have it. His name is Kiaya Elliott. And what year was he born? You know, every time I come back after the weekend, it feels like I took a week off. It's so like, you know, I feel a little bit rusty, you guys. I don't have his exact birthday here, but yeah, he's still relatively young at this point. Mom power. Miss Queen says Kiaya was doing the hair and nails, become a gym girly on Insta. Did she? Okay. Listen, doing hair, nails, cosmetic stuff, like you can like become an entrepreneur in that and make a really, really good amount of money, right? It's just about staying motivated. So you see these teen mom girls try to get into this. I remember Chelsea, and she struggled her way through school. Like she dropped out of one school because she was planning a birthday party for her daughter or moving or something. And she said it was too stressful to do both. Then she got into some kind of other school. And I think she did finish that, but she had some problems, something about doing some stuff under the table, being investigated. Then there was Caitlin. She was supposed to be doing microblading of the eyebrows, and that was really exciting. However, does she actually do it? Does she keep up with it? It doesn't really look like she does, right? Hey, Big Miss Muffin, good morning. Nice to see you. Good morning, Caroline. Nice to see you. Good morning, Gwen. Nice to see you too. And welcome, 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 everybody. Good morning. So nice to see y'all back here for another episode of The Morning Report. If you're finding yourselves enjoying this, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows you enjoy my content. And this is the thing, right? Speaking of the show being canceled, right, and everything, why don't they just do that kind of a reshuffling, right? Like so many people are interested in Young and Pregnant. However, they do need some teen mom anchors to like make it into this really kind of like show that is more engaging to people. So kind of do a hybrid. I would get rid of Amber. She's got custody of none of her children, right? So what's the point? What is the point of having Kung Fu Portwood here? And then now Gary's kind of no contact with her. We don't need her. Macy's story, we don't need it. She's very boring. The Ryan stuff, we should not be giving money to somebody like that who would destroy his children's house, right? If we have Janelle back, I don't know. What do you guys think, right? Janelle, God, I don't know. But I do think we need the Young and Pregnant people with like 2 or so teen mom people, similar to what they did with The Valley to make it successful, right? They had to mix it with some of the Vanderpump people to get people to watch. And so I do think that that would be something that could get the ratings goal that they were looking for. Good morning, Jasmine. Buenos dias, chica. 3x3 is crazy, right? Almost as crazy as 7x4, potentially even 5. We don't know for sure how many, right? Big Miss Muffin says these shows cannot continue to applaud this behavior. Having kids, no education is the biggest seed of deception. And it's so sad. Like, you know, you're setting your children up for a really, really rough life when you have them under these conditions. And so like, I just can't help but feel sad for their kids. Shayna, I love that too, right? Like, and I think they kind of took the season off from Family Reunion, but like something like that, where you mix these different types, because we did get to see Kiaya mixed in with the other OGs or with like the Teen Mom 2 girlies and stuff. Like, yeah, you do see like the big difference in age, you know, especially Kiaya. She's very immature, you guys. Like, I remember they were supposed to be like not rock climbing, but like, you know, when you like scale these like rocks or something, and she was crying and screaming like a baby. There was like a bug on the raft in the water crying and screaming like a baby. So you do see the difference in age between them, but it's very interesting nonetheless, right? So I do hope that that's what they come back with. Again, I know that they're looking around at, you know, doing that spinoff with the kids from, you know, the various Teen Mom shows, but I do think that it would behoove them as well to do a little bit of a hybrid between the most controversial girls from Teen Mom OG, Teen Mom 2, Young and Pregnant as well. And y'all know there are still some people that were on 16 and pregnant who never made it to one of these franchises that I would love to see. You know, I want to know how Jennifer Del Rio is doing. I want to know how these types of people. There was another girl that I thought was really, she used to be married to Enrique. Do you remember that girl? Like, I want to know how she's doing as well. She was supposed to go to med school, but I don't think she wound up going there. Like, you know, there are so many stories that I think are worth sharing and telling and that I'm, you know, genuinely looking forward to. So we'll have to wait and see how all of that eventually plays out. Speaking of waiting and seeing how things play out, well, we're going to get to see how Denise Richards' divorce plays out relatively soon because according to TMZ, our girl has been filming for the next season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They got photos of her walking into a restaurant to film a scene with Erica Jane Girardi and Sutton Stracke. And obviously, I do believe that they're going to be talking about their divorce. And I think that they're going to take this opportunity to talk about the lesbian hookup rumor. Do you remember how like there's like this big scandal from Brandy, right? Where Brandy says that she and who is this? What is this lady's name? Denise, saying that she and Denise hooked up or whatever. Well, I think now, because a lot of people have been wondering, is the reason why Denise was so against the story being shared because of her husband, right? Like her husband is a little bit psycho. Is that something that she's going to be talking about on the show or not? Like things like that are going to be, you know, kind of interesting to see and follow and to know how they eventually end up playing out on the show. I do have to ask you guys, a lot of people are kind of turned off from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because there's a core group of 5 girls, as my friend Campfire likes to call them, the Fox Force flunkies, right? Who've taken over. They've had this kind of like alliance where they kind of freeze people out, almost sort of bully people in the show and whatnot. Do you think that like you're still going to be watching to figure out the behind the scenes of what went down in Denise's marriage, or has that situation with that particular group of women kind of soured your enjoyment or your viewing pleasure of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? I personally am going to watch it because I actually do enjoy the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I do find those core 5 kind of annoying, of course, but I think overall Housewives of Beverly Hills does produce interesting storylines and you see a lot of wealth in it. Unfortunately, for one reason or another, like they kind of stopped casting actually wealthy wives, right? So like you've got these like really kind of like low budget housewives and whatnot, and that's just not what you're trying to see, right? So, you know, just being able to have that lifestyle corn and whatnot on Housewives of Beverly Hills is really exciting to me and really interesting to me. So that is something else that does keep me watching the show. And again, like I just mentioned, I am really looking forward to seeing Denise share her side of the story about what went down between her and her estranged or soon to be ex-husband Aaron. And I want her to go on camera and admit that that man is a fraudster. Like the pseudoscience and whatnot that he's peddling is not real, right? So much to come out of this, I think, new season of the show. Erica, she's dating this new guy, and the guy is supposed to be like another kind of fraudulent weirdo as well. So I'm looking forward to her opening up about that relationship. Maybe we're going to see that guy on the show and whatnot. Like, I think we're gearing up for a pretty good season. Dorit is going through her divorce from PK. Like the gloves are off. She is going up against Sutton and everything. There's just so much happening, I think, on the next season of Beverly Hills that, you know, again, I'm genuinely looking forward to watching. So let me go ahead and take a look at what it is that you guys have to say. And I agree with you, Summer Breeze. Like Denise is severely attracted to psychos. It kind of makes you wonder what she's got going on, to be honest with you, but she's really attracted to them. Good morning, Kevin, Misty, and thank you, Misty. That's so nice of you. Mary says Denise needs to commit or go away. Listen, for now, I think I'm excited to see her as a friend of. Something about her makes me very uncomfortable. Like when she used to pop up, she would look high or just like weird or off to me. And so that would kind of like, you know, make me feel a little bit unsettled. So I hope whatever she had going on, she's able to kind of like settle it and figure it out so that like it's not so uncomfortable to look at her on the show, to be honest with you. I don't know. Did you guys ever get that vibe as well that like she was so off, like her movements and everything, the upside down jacket, like it was weird vibes. Like she had a weird look in her eye all the time. Good morning, Cammy. Nice to see you, boo. Big Miss Muffin says, Lord, Aaron on this season is going to be tragic. I'm not interested. Listen, I don't think we're going to get him because now like there's a restraining order against the two of them. Like he's not allowed to talk to her or about her. So I do not see him appearing on the show. So it's all going to be it's got Denise's side of things. Jazzy says, Bravo can keep these teasers. I'm still boycotting RHOBH until Kyle, Erica, and Dorit are off. Listen, I don't think they're going to get rid of all of them, especially not in one fell swoop. But if you had to pick, Jazzy and everybody else watching, which one of the Fox 5 flunkies would you get rid of? I personally would get rid of, it's hard between Kyle and Erica and Dory. Kyle. I would get rid of Kyle. What about you guys? Summer Bree says, Denise Richards. Oh, we talked about that. Yeah, she does love a psycho husband. There's something in her that we don't get to see that attracts this and thrives off of this, I think. Ali says, I'm good on all the storylines for Beverly Hills. Listen, I totally get it. Mary Judah says, he's old. I'm sure he doesn't like the idea that his friends think Denise is sleeping around, let alone with his permission. Exactly. You know, so it's going to be interesting to know how he actually reacted to all of this behind the scenes, right? No, she doesn't have a diamond. She's just going to be popping in for a little bit. Be wise. And Milan can't wait for Rachel Zoe. So that's a really good one to mention. So Rachel Zoe is a new housewife for the upcoming season of Beverly Hills. And around the same time that they announced that she was becoming a new housewife, she also announced that she was divorcing from her husband of like 17 years. So there's a lot to digest in this upcoming season of the show. So get ready, you guys. I will be watching and I will be sharing some thoughts and tidbits about it here on the Morning Report as it airs on TV. Okay. Now, why don't we get into the Sydney Sweeney story? Oh God, I have to sigh and take a sip of water before we get into this because this is quite the controversy. First of all, while I sip this little water, what did you guys think about her Good Jeans commercial, right? For me, more than anything, the voice was so great. Good jeans are passed down from parents to parents. It's your eye color, your height, like this type of thing, right? So she did this commercial and a lot of people are offended by it and it's led to some things. So essentially people said, you know, this Good Jeans commercial feels like a double entendre to make you kind of low-key slip in some racist, eugenicist rhetoric. And so people are saying, you know what? What's Sydney Sweeney really about? Let's go look up her voting history so we could know what her values really are and if they align with her chains, right? So shout out to TMZ for pulling this up. They found out that Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, and she registered as a Republican in Florida just a few months before Donald Trump was elected president, right? So I want to know what you guys think about this overall, because this is just such a divisive topic, right? And again, I am non-American, so I really want to kind of pass the mic to you guys so you could let me know what you think about this. I got to say personally, I'm not exactly surprised. And I'm going to pull up a photo for why. Because if you recall, I think it was earlier this year, Sydney Sweeney threw a birthday party, or her family was celebrating a birthday party. And this is what they all wore to this party. Okay. Like the signs were there. So seeing her in this Good Jeans commercial, and then seeing her kind of like voting registration or whatever, I'm not personally surprised. Right. So I want to know what people think about this overall. So let me go ahead. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Let me know if you're watching live or if you're part of my playback posse. Let me know in the comment section and we'll chat over there. OK, let me see what y'all have to say about this. Right. Da, 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 da. So Gwen says it was gross and weird. And I completely agree. Jalisa says, wait, how can we look it up? You know, I don't remember, but I know, for example, this actually reminds me, I think I looked this up for Cole. Cole is a registered Republican as well. Chelsea Huska's husband. I don't remember how I looked this up, but this one came from TMZ particularly. Milan says, that's why she and Zendaya are not close. She's been a MAGA always. Remember her family, Blue Lives Matter, right? Ali says, people think she's hot. I don't get it. I think it's the boobs, to be honest with you. I think people just like the boobs. Erica first, she's the main one with the mean girl. Yeah, Erica is really mean. And it's crazy because at first she came across like really sweet. Like she was the outcast, right? And boom, how quickly people change. Same with Lala on Vanderpump Rules. Kev says, not Sydney Sweeney joining the call. Yup. I feel like she was always there. And so she was kind of just like hiding in plain sight. But this ad campaign took things too far. And I think this ad campaign, it has changed the course of her career moving forward and her image, like in a permanent way. I hope they paid her well, because I think this is something that she's going to be feeling the repercussions of for the rest of her career. Paprika says, I've never heard of this woman before this ad. I don't buy big name brands, but I couldn't care less about her politics. Period. BY says, another Yahoo, period. Republican from Florida. Surprise, surprise, right? Mary Duda. I've been waiting to hear your take on this. Yeah, my take is just, I'm not surprised. And, that's the thing about like dog whistle racism or dog whistle, like, creepy things like this, is that, it can be so subtle, right? That like they'll gaslight you about what they're really saying. But then you take a closer look at the people involved in this stuff and the way that they're voting and the values of, the things they vote for and whatnot. And it all aligns with what you were thinking in the first place, which is that, hey, I think there's some racism in this commercial, right? But they'll swear up and down there isn't. It's also disturbing. There's an author who had a really good take on this. Her name was Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison had a really, really good take on all this kind of stuff, but just how like subtle this type of stuff could be and how sickening it is. I'm not surprised that Sydney's a Republican. Look at those photos. Let me put those photos back up. Jaleesa says, I need to check out some people. Ooh. Are they Sydney Sweeney lovers? Listen, I just never got it. I never got the hype, to be honest with you. But there you go, you guys. The tea on Sydney Sweeney. Now, I do have a story that is a little, well, not a little bit. It's actually extremely disturbing. So I do have to warn you guys about some of the content in it in case it makes you guys uncomfortable. Okay. So we're going to talk about DV. We're going to talk about ABUSC against animals. And we're also going to talk about the loss of an infant. Okay. Very, very heavy stuff. So if you need to click away, definitely do not hesitate to. I would absolutely understand. It's just this story is something we've been covering since the news started breaking. Shout out to sarcasm.net for their incredible reporting and investigation into all this stuff. But do you guys remember this couple, Leida Margaretha and Eric Rosenberg from the show? She came from Malaysia. She was claiming to be some kind of doctor in Malaysia and whatnot. And they have just been a toxic mess, like their entire relationship, from what we've seen on the show and what we've seen in the press and in police as well. So most recently, the two of them both got arrested for a DV altercation. Very bad stuff. And they had an infant daughter at the time who mysteriously passed away. Leida also faced charges for cruelty against an animal. And this was in regards to their dog. And Leida actually came to the US with her son. And something that was really crazy. Look at this picture. Leida has always had black hair. However, now that she was out on bail and it looks like she could potentially be facing manslaughter charges or something like that, something, involving what happened with her daughter and the DV charges and everything, she was arrested because police suspected that she was about to flee the country with her son. Look at this. Your daughter passes away, and within days, you run to the hair salon to completely transform your hair color from black to whatever this is, right? Really, really bizarre stuff. She got a rush order trying to get her son's passport and everything. So the cop said, she is a flight risk. We're keeping her in the US. We are confiscating her passport and everything, right? And so now Leida is fighting back and trying to stop the judge from keeping her behind bars any longer. So she's currently already behind bars, but she wants to get out, right? So this is one of the court papers. Once again, shout out to Sarcasm for being able to pull this, right? About Leida Margaretha. Again, she's just such a scary person. Like, you could tell that there's a certain level of soullessness behind her eyes, right? So this is a letter that she had written to the judge asking to be released. So her handwriting is a little bit difficult to read, but just basically to summarize some of what she was saying, she, in her letter to the judge, asked for release and for the charges to be dropped. And she claimed that she was deeply affected mentally and physically by the loss of her daughter, which caused her to unintentionally violate bail bond conditions. She asked the judge for compassion, saying, from a mother to another mother, I am hoping you can understand the devastating situation I am in. She said that she had a mental health assessment scheduled with a psychologist the next day to comply with court requirements. And she said that she had already filed an order of examination. And in that order, she entered a plea of not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. or that mental illness could become a factor in the case. And so a psychological report was ordered to be submitted by August 1st, with a review hearing scheduled for August 27th. So I do believe that those things were indeed filed. And so now we'll have to wait until the end of the month to see how that hearing actually ends up going. Listen, Leida, you're not getting out of jail. It's absolutely insane and unfathomable that within days of your daughter passing away and you facing charges for DV and animal cruelty, you're out here getting your hair dyed. You're running around trying to get a passport for your child. Like, it just does not look good. A judge would be stupid to let you out on bail when it's very, very obvious that you were a flight risk and you were trying to get out of Dodge and avoid accountability or an investigation into what actually went down that fateful night. There's no way she's getting out of jail. This whole one mother to another mother thing, please, 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 please. It's not going to work. Oh, God. A mess, right? Tanisha says, I didn't watch this couple, but I get Paul and Karine vibes from them. Yeah, it's a very, very bad match. You know, by the way, I think Paul is still in Brazil, like effing around. Wasn't this guy supposed to be an engineer at some point in life? Like, what is he doing? Happy Go Lucky says, Eric and Leida are just shameful. So glad they caught her before she could flee. Amen. And the way this man allowed her to treat his daughter, to speak to his daughter, is just so unforgivable to me as well. BY says they arrested her with blonde hair. Exactly. Freshly dyed blonde hair. Give it up, girl. You are not getting let out. Jazzy says that behavior screams guilty, and I completely agree. BY says she was trying to flee the country with her son. Yup, she tried to get his passport and everything. I think she was trying to get a rush order on it. Girl, it's just all lining up in a really, really bad way for you. Gwen says, so not only is she imprisoned in my state, she's also in Adams County. Yup, lock your door, hide your kids, hide your wife. Leida's in the neighborhood. Happy Go Lucky says, I'm behind on the story. Is Eric a victim too? No, not necessarily, because Eric was also arrested, and Leida is claiming that he was the one who was physical with her. I think that they're both physical to one another. I think they're both psychotic. But yeah, that's where the case kind of stands as of yet. So, speaking of their relationship in general, Leida has also filed for legal separation from Eric, not divorce, but legal separation, right? And this is something that she did. Once again, shout out to Starcasm for breaking the story. She did this on July 28th, which is just a couple days after the passing of their daughter. And they managed to get copies of Leida's filings. And in them, she says that the marriage is broken. And the reason that she's requesting a legal separation and not a divorce is to coordinate the marital agreement, discuss about spousal support and assets division. Leida also references an abusive pattern in the couple's relationship. And then in the filing, she affirms that she's asking the court to enter an order granting spousal maintenance, aka spousal support. And very interesting stuff, you guys. I'm gonna continue to keep an eye on it. She said that there were just too many domestic ABUSC events. She has a restraining order due to both physical and verbal ABUSE. And she says that she needs $7,000 a month for spousal support to begin in September. Guys, where the hell does Eric look like somebody who's got $7,000 a month to be giving anybody, much less himself? How is she going to get $7,000 a month? I'm kind of curious about this. One thing about Leida was that she was always a little bit delusional. So listen, do they have $7,000 a month to be giving away as spousal support? I don't think so, especially because when she listed their debts and assets and stuff, like it wasn't conducive, right, to this kind of a lifestyle. So I'm just saying. Anyway, so she wants for Eric to permanently give up the right to receive maintenance and understand that by giving up maintenance at the time, he may never ask again for maintenance. She wants to receive all the household items listed in the filing, like furniture, tables, lamp, dining tables, etc., washer, dryer, electronics. And she wants to keep their Audi car and for him to keep their Chevy Suburban and 2022 Corvette. She wants to be the sole owner of Her For All People LLC. She wants to receive a Roth IRA, although we're not sure of how much money is going to be in it. She wants full ownership of a Wells Fargo business checking account, and Eric would get ownership of a personal banking account from Wells Fargo. And the couple's debts and liabilities are about $110K in the mortgage, $47K in car loans, and $54K in other loans. Honestly, that's insane. The amount of car loans that the two of them are carrying, that's like almost half their mortgage, right? Like absolutely crazy, especially with credit card debts about $34,000. I'm really fascinated by how people manage their money. Very, very interesting stuff. I'm going to continue to keep you guys posted on this story as it plays out. Very sad, very scary stuff. But again, this couple just always gave very bad vibes. Like, you know, Leida in particular was incredibly vile and nasty towards Eric's daughter. And like the stories about, you know, how she was back in Malaysia, like the drag racing incident and everything, just a mess, right? A-Train says, cover the new Dunkin' Donuts commercial. What is the new Dunkin' Donuts commercial? I'm scared. What happens in it? I have no freaking clue. Did you guys know they brought Dunkin' Donuts to Paris? Please, guys, stop. They've brought Popeyes here. They've brought Dunkin' Donuts. There's that other one. What is this called? It's another donut place. I don't know what it's called, but the branding is green, Krispy Kreme. They brought Wingstop. Oh my God, like what the hell is happening? You know, what the hell is happening? It's crazy out here. Kikar says, Eric and Leida are both horrible human beings. The only victims are that poor dog and all the children involved. And I 1000% agree. Very, very sad situation all the way around. Hey, Amy, how you doing? Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Latasha. How are you doing? Hope you guys had a great weekend, and thank you so much. Ali says, so she just wants it all. Pretty much, right? And don't forget, she was a very, very delusional, very, very entitled person. So in her mind, this is exactly how it's going to go down. And if it doesn't go down this way, everybody has hell to pay for it. Happy Go Lucky says, didn't Leida claim to be a doctor? Yup, in her home country. Can you imagine if she was your doctor? That would be horrifying. You know, like when you hear stories about like doctors like killing patients for fun or like poisoning or whatever, this type of thing, like that's the type of doctor I imagine she would be, right? If her story about being a doctor were even true. Just saying. Just saying. Osa, good morning, Osi. Nice to see you. I love Krispy Kreme. I'm too scared to even try it. Listen. I've sworn these things off, you know, maybe like one time a year. So maybe at some point by the end of the year, I'll try it out, but I'm too scared to even try these things. I can't. You know, they specifically try to make these things addictive. OC says, Eric was digesting to his oldest daughter, illegally outrun her out even though her name was on the lease. Really? Divesting, you mean? Oh, that's crazy. Damn, I don't trust that guy. Anybody who would allow their partner, their spouse to treat their children and speak to their children the way that Eric has allowed Leida to speak to his children and to treat them, just not trustworthy at all, not respectable at all. Again, you guys, Leida, it looks like she was trying to be on the run. She was trying to flee the United States. She dyed her hair as some kind of like distraction technique or something like that. But the cop scooped her up and said, we're putting you behind bars. I do wonder who's taking care of her son at this point, right? Because she's not cool with Eric. She's not cool with Eric's family. She doesn't really have her own family in the United States. So who is taking care of her son while she's locked up? That's something that I haven't seen yet. You know, I'm going to reach out to Asa from Starcasm to ask her if any of her sources have intel into that. But, you know, I think that's the question that's, you know, kind of most on my mind in this current moment about that situation. Ali says, I think it'd be safer to have fast food in France than it would in the US because you guys probably have higher quality standards. They do, but at the same time, like, what is with all the damn fast food? Like, it's just too much. Honestly, I hate it. I hate to even see it because, you know, when you go to these like areas that they like to put the fast food, it's like, you know, these places with like cute local, you know, restaurants with the nice terraces and stuff with the classic, beautiful French chairs. And then boom, Popeyes, boom, Krispy Kreme, boom, Dunkin'. Oh, leave us alone. Leave us alone. Atri says, did they disclose how the baby passed away yet? No, not yet. There's still an investigation into that. And, you know, I just, you know, I would hate to speculate, but just based off of the way that she just, you know, was running off, dyeing her hair and getting ready to run away, get her son a passport. I think it seems as though she's expecting to face some charges in regards to that. Max says CPS, amen, Child Protective Services. True. Oh, like they does that mean he's in foster care? That's sad. Really freaking sad. Gwen says, I eat like 2 donuts in a year and that's it. So much sugar. Exactly, right? Listen, I'm going to treat myself to a donut at a certain point, but I did have a cinnamon roll at some point this year. So I have to use my time wisely, you know, and that was maybe in May. So I have to wait, maybe in December, I'll go have one of these things. Natasha says, I feel like France is the last place that needs, yes, an American pastry visit. Exactly. Like, if we've got such good pastries here, why do we need these things? You know what I mean? Like the boulangerie, the patisserie everywhere, they're so beautiful and they're so decadent and they're so high quality. Like, why are they bringing this stuff? I just do not understand it, you know, and people will line up for it. The people don't look to be like French though, just based off the way they dress. It's like a lot of tourists, I guess, like to line up, you know, to try this stuff. And I'm like, anyway. Listen, you guys, it's so nice to catch up with you for another episode of The Morning Report. I'm going to be making some steak frites tonight. I'm expecting company. And then afterwards, we're going to go to a jazz show. So I do have to run for now, but I will be back again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about more of the day's hottest stories. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Get well soon, Ramster. Hopefully you're nice and rested and, you know, good luck with your doctor's appointment. And nice to see you're back home safely again, Jaleesa. And I will catch you guys again tomorrow. Take care. And thanks so much for joining me, guys. Bye. Have a good day.